is entirely likely that over the course of my existence on this earth, I have never been triumphant. One time I think I came close. I think it was at my last college debate tournament. I just said I was a debater, which is like admitting to a room full of people that you kind of belong to a stupid, weird, beautiful cult. Here's what happened. It was my last debate tournament. It shouldn't have been my last debate tournament, and so I had a chip on my shoulder. The way that works is this. In college debate, at least for policy debate, there are two different kind of national titles. There was like a merger back then, and it's kind of like weird infighting. The moral of the story is this, it's like having two Super Bowls. Only one of them is like really prestigious and stuffy, and you have to wear a suit to a banquet that I always go to now that I'm a coach and like get drunk at and make an ass of myself. The second one you have to qualify for, which means that you need to be one of the top 78 teams in the country. I went into the qualifying tournament with my partner, who's like a smart, beautiful girl who's a moron for partnering with me. And I said, here's what we do. We tell everyone at the tournament, here's the argument that we say. We say, fuck you, you're wrong, Karl Marx was right. Now, Karl Marx wrote in around 1850, essentially, that it was an inevitability that the proletariat was going to rise up and take the means of production, right, from the factory owners. That was 170 years ago. Still hasn't happened. Marx was definitely wrong. So we don't make it. We don't qualify. My partner is distraught. She spent 4 years of her life trying to get to this tournament that we are not going to make it to. She turned to me and she was like, what are we going to do? Is this last tournament even worth it? And I was like, it's a national title. We're probably not going to win it. Because, there's no way. I would get way more often if I did. I was like, we can at least probably break the top 50 teams at this national tournament and prove to those assholes that we were wrong, that they were wrong, and that we should have qualified. We show up. Things go pretty well the first day, not so much the second day. Essentially, you need to have a record of 5-3 to break, which essentially means like making the playoffs, right? You kind of win until you lose. We end up 2-3, I guess, and the next 2 rounds afterwards were 4-3. We win them, right? We have to win out. This is like crazy. We're going on a run. It's like the last thing that we really have over our college lives. Like neither of us have applied for jobs. We don't really care what's going to happen to us afterwards. I still don't care what happens to me. And we walk into this debate round. Our coach is talking to us. She was always awesome and had her shit together. She is freaking the fuck out right now. I was like, it's alright, we got this, don't worry about it. Our coach is talking to us, it's like, fake it till you make it. That was always the thing that he said, something that I still govern my life with to this day. The problem is I never make it, so I'm just faking everything. And I walk into this room, and there's this thing called cross-examination, which happens. So I get up and I give the first speech of the round, the debate round. And here's what our argument is, okay? In policy debate, we have this thing called the resolution, which is like, you're supposed to get up there and defend this thing that we've been talking about for the entirety of the year. This year it's immigration policy. We're supposed to give out more visas to immigrants. We said, that sounds like a thing that's not cheating, so let's not do that. We got up and kind of make all these arguments about kind of like how we probably shouldn't do that at all. We should talk about like hotel workers, the immigrants in our lives that we actually engage with on a daily basis. For the most part, people respond to this by saying, you're cheating, and we say, fuck you, and it's all okay. This time, I get up and they're cross-examining me, and this dude asks, like, do you think that you deserve to kind of make out rounds? Do people, like, is this argument meaningful? And I said, yeah, it's meaningful. This argument's kind of a big deal, just like we are. And I look at my partner, and like, she kind of gets like a little bit of confidence or whatever. And they get up and they give a 9-minute speech about how that was a dumb thing to say, essentially. They're like, you shouldn't own your arguments like that. It's like a form of epistemological violence. You shouldn't try to own the way that scholarship happens in this room. She looks to me and she didn't talk. She's a girl. She doesn't talk to me. Okay? And then she turns to me and she decides to talk to me. That's how I know that we're fucked. Right? She says, I have no idea what to say. And I was like, don't worry about it. I get this. And I walked up there, and this is not like a thing that you should ever do when you're trying to make or win an argument, but I gave a 6-minute speech in response to this that was, who fucking cares? I literally got up and was like, it doesn't matter. Shut up. We win. The judge sits there at the end of the room, at the end of the round, and in the back of the room looks over the copious notes that he's taken, and then signs his ballot about 45 minutes later and looks up and is like, I vote for Vermont. I guess I really don't care.